Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Pillars of Eternity.
How may I help?
Wir haben jetzt hier diesen Hoshi besiegt und die Brustplatte mitgenommen, die wir jetzt abgeben müssen. Und vorher gehen wir aber noch in das Irrenhaus. Animancer. Woman is absorbed in a book, muttering softly as she reads.
Hail, traveler.
A woman stands in the shade of the garden, muttering to herself. She is fixated on the pages of a large and well-worn tome, seemingly oblivious to the blooming flowers and the cool, fragrant breeze. She only looks up when your shadow crosses her page. Do you mind? I'm rather busy. What are you busy with? She snaps her book shut. I'm studying soul attachment. We all know that souls move into people at birth and out of them at death, but we still have a lot of questions about what makes them stick, so to speak. What do you mean about making them stick? She brushes a stray lock from her forehead. Souls power bodies and give their tissues life, but only when they are firmly attached. It's separation that leads to a whole spate of soul-related ailments, including the hollowbone. But if we understood how to reattach souls, we could end Waidwin's legacy, maybe even conquer death. She scratches behind her ear. That's the theory anyway. Unfortunately, I don't have all the research I need to put into practice. What exactly do you need? There's a manuscript called The Theorems of Pengram. It contains research from the Pengram's experiments on detached souls. The Hall of the Revealed Mysteries is rumored to have a copy in the Elder Archives. The theorems could advance my research by leaps and bounds, but Grimda, the High Archivist, worships Whale, which means she has some paradoxical views on sharing and restricting knowledge. And since she's not exactly a proponent of animancy, she tends to restrict the kinds of information that would be useful to me. That's a shame. Maybe she could be convinced, persuaded. You're welcome to try, but you wouldn't be the first. She sighs. Look at me spilling my troubles. It's kind of you to listen, but I should really get back to my work. Anything else? She looks eager to return to her studies. Tell me about yourself. I am an animan inside the sanitarium. Currently, I am researching matters related to Waidman's legacy. What's Waidman's legacy? Das ist auch total neu. Waidman legacy refers to the rise in hollowbone children in the Deerwood in recent years. Some have also connected it to so-called beerwax that blow through air gland path. There's hardly any reliable data on those, though I can't really comment. She sniffs. I don't much care for the term Waidman's legacy. It reeks of superstition, but it's too prevalent to change at this point. Personally, I'd like to see people take a more methodical approach to these matters rather than throwing up their hands and blaming the gods. I have some questions about the theorems of Pengram, such as, tell me about the theorems of Pengram. Pengram was an animancer working in the Deerwood. He had some interesting theories about essence and some rather innovative techniques for studying it. He was able to reattach souls to bodies after death, although he wasn't able to prevent his patients from degenerating. He was controversial, to say the least, but many are starting to realize that he was merely ahead of his time. What do you mean by degenerating? Nedwin twists her hands together. Well, there seems to be a tiny problem with reattaching souls after death. The bodies will reanimate and may even retain memories and personality, but they develop a hunger for flesh, living soul-infused flesh. Without it, they start to devolve, decaying mentally and physically. If the process goes too far, which it eventually does, they become mindless corpses attacking anything that moves. We haven't figured out a way to avoid that. And you wonder why Grimner won't share this research with you. That sounds like necromancy. Nonsense! Necromancy is magic! This is science! She emphasized the last word. Why doesn't Grimner lend you the book you need? The Hall of Revealed Mysteries is rather protective of its books, especially the rarer ones, and Grimner in particular. She hates animacy, thinks it's dangerous. I don't see how you can run the greatest library in the Dierwood and be so adverse to the spread of knowledge and research. But I've never understood these religious types. I lost scolds at the Animancer. Some knowledge is best kept under lock and key. I'd like to know about the Hall of the Revealed Mysteries. You'll find it in the Copperlane district. It's dedicated to the God of Secrets and Revelations. Most importantly, it houses the largest and most expansive library in the Dierwood. What are the Elder Archives? The Elder Archives hold the rarest, most arcane and most powerful texts in the Dierwood. Think of it as the inner sanctum of the Hall of the Revealed Mysteries. Needless to say, you need Grimner's permission to enter. That's all I wanted to ask. Are you the Animancer who's been buying relics from Imatl? I don't know who you're talking about, but I work with theories, not rocks and post-hearts. I'll leave you alone. Farewell. Sanitarium. Okay, hier haben wir nichts. Oh. Dann gehen wir da noch rein. Da haben wir noch was. These charming windows are reinforced with iron bars in a double thickness of glass. Na gut, dann mal hinein in die gute Stube.
I'll see what I can find.
Warden, an Animancer from the Republic's Bankello has requested a visit. Extend a formal invitation, see to it that the necessary preparations are made. Head Warden Ethelmower. A well-maintained statue of a middle-aged man presides over the room, looking down unblinking over the bustle of Herod academics pestered by the hopeful desperate. A strong warmth emanates from it that you could sense from across the room. There is a human soul stored beneath the stonework. You see its attention turned towards you. It has been some time since Watcher graced these halls. His voice echoes deeply, rumbling the floor beneath you. I'm envious of your natural insights, traveler. I can only imagine how it might have helped my work in life. No, what is it that brought you to my sanitarium? Are you the Animancer who's been buying relics from Imatl? There's a large and rather notorious black market for uncatalogued Anguithian relics. I stay far away from it. Uncatalogued? Hieraphius blinks in disbelief. That's the best euphemism I've heard for stolen since I killed my fifth loiterer. He insisted an artifact he looted was not in use and therefore his to take. His scowl becomes a smile as he adds, and that was the first time I constricted a man to death with vines of ivy. In front of his dog. I let the dog go, of course. You think I'm some sort of monster? Don't answer that. I'm curious as to how you've come to be in your present state. In the statue, you mean? Well, he laughs. I was old, and it seemed wrong to me. A lifetime spent in pursuit of discovery, only to lose it all in death. Somewhere, someday, I would wake up in a new body, none the wiser, and pursue a different course entirely. All that experience wasted. If we are ever to unearth the principles behind our existence, it will be in spite of our condition. Of that I'm quite sure. To live on as part of something I helped build seemed to be a better legacy than what nature had in store. The transfer itself was quite simple as our techniques go, and for that I'm grateful. Playing with souls is far easier to accept when they are not your own. I do miss being able to take an active role in the scholarly efforts here. Now and again, one of our animancers will humor me and consult over some problem, but they are a jealous breed and are too often afraid to collaborate. If you are considering it yourself, I can tell you that it isn't for the easily bored. Tell me about the sanitarium. A history lesson? This is a rare pleasure. Most come here only concerned with cheating death in one way or another. We are an old institution, and as Deerwood goes, this is our 94th year. As with many cities, the growth of Defiance Bay brought with it a host of problems. One of the worst was that those born with, shall we say, ill-favored souls came to populate its steers in droves, thus the sanitarium. Brackenbury was a natural fit. It was growing, but there was also a lot of money here back then. This place owes its survival to the curiosities of the wealthy more than anything, I think. Our founding became at a time of great suspicion and animancy, much like today. So much progress has been lost to the mishaps of a few careless practitioners. But in time it was forgotten, as all things are. Since then we have been the foremount of animancy's resurgence. We have played host to many gifted researchers and pushed the boundaries of our knowledge in ways never thought possible. Some of the first safe transferences were done here, and we have pioneered work in soul purification, lineage analysis, preservation. It's really quite a list, if you'll pardon my pride. To diet, well, I can't say it's exactly the same. There've been some push to shut us down. It comes from Deerwood's more excitable denizens, whose minds are more passionate than thoughtful, I'm afraid. People see this legacy, and they see it involves something they don't understand. So it's natural for them to suspect people whose understanding exceeds theirs. It looks to them like we are hiding something. We have a representative in the palace this very moment, defending the entire science of animancy, at a hearing before the Duke. Absurd as it sounds. If it does not go well, it could be the end of animancy in Deerwood. I fear Ava may be swayed by all this unrest, irrational though it may be. We shall see. Farewell. Na gut. Werner. Blub, blub. The table is set with an assortment of leaflets and booklets with titles like Practical Benefits of Animancy and Soul Adjustment for the Well-Adjusted Soul.
And what does the flame reveal?
This man's soul was torn asunder by a bivouac. As you can see, the patient is unresponsive, common after soul trauma. The table is set with an assortment of leaflets and booklets with a title like Practical Benefits of Animancy and Soul Adjustment for the Well-Adjusted Soul. Can you hear me, Oswin? Dann gehen wir mal da runter.
I'll see what I can find.
Das klingt aber schon gefährlich hier unten. Bella Siege. This strange device seems to thrum with power.
How do you do?
A woman paces back and forth, her feet crunching on the soft red carpet. She gestures and mumbles to herself, shaking her head as she pores over pages of notes. She almost walks into you. Echoes, see, here I am, looking so hard for answers in my research that I do not see the keys standing in front of me. What can I do? What do you do here? According to my research grant, I study awakenings. Subliminating pre-awakened souls has been one of Animancy's greatest successes, and I am working on a method to replicate the process of unawakened souls. She gnaws at her lip. But the truth is that I find few suitable subjects here. Waidwin's legacy has left plenty of awakened souls, but most are too broken for study. She sighs. I fear I will return to Ryuva with nothing to show for my efforts. I am awakened. I've been recalling flashes of a past life. She scratches her chin. Most interesting, but not the kind of awakening I can study, I'm afraid. I need someone whose awakened soul can be triggered with predictable stimuli. Souls such as these tend to manifest as alternate personas in the host. She gives you a broad, if-stained smile. But I thank you for the offer. Something else you need? Are you the Animancer who's been buying relics from Immortal? From what? I do not know this place. I like to know more about Animancy and the Valiant Republics. It is a dynamic and respected field. Even the Beale Reach incident did little to slow it, she shrugs. People in the Republics are more accepting of risk, less suspicious, ready to try anything that shows promise. It's a shame that so many here are so hostile toward Animancy. It is, but such is the way of the Deerwood. The people here are fierce about their sovereignty, but they are not so independent from the Adrian brothers and their Granflarian neighbors as they would like to think. They rely too much on the mysterious workings of the gods and fear the very advances they need. What? Okay, ne, die hat gar nichts. Okay, dann...
On the hunt.
On the hunt. Mildred. In a corner of Mildred Lab rests a large weathered trunk. It seems likely to contain something important, if only by virtue of its size. Examine the trunk more closely. Nothing grabs your attention except for the large padlock on the front. Whatever this Animancer keeps in here, he does not want anyone else to have or see. Leave the trunk alone. Na gut, dann wird erst der wohl sein. An animator scribbles feverishly on a parchment scroll while his free hand dances through the air, counting off unseen objects. His lips move in silent discourse. As your shadow falls over his scroll, he looks up at you with mingled perplexity and irritation.
Good day to you.
He forces a polite smile. What are you working on? My area of focus is wishes. More specifically, how to cure them. What's a wished? A hollowbone who received a transplanted animal soul during infancy. One of Animance's early efforts to cure the legacy, if not a successful one. He removes his spectacles and wipes his brow. They show signs of developmental abnormalities throughout their childhood, but when they reach adolescence, they become aggressive, feral, but still victims in need of care. Transplanting animal souls into children seems like an odd solution. We Animancers were trying to do something about the crisis, better than letting it swallow a generation of children. He stares at a fixed point on the far wall, and despite the controversy, it only went so far because at first it seemed to work. People called it the salvation. Children that had never been responsive to any kind of stimuli suddenly seemed aware of their surroundings, of their families. He takes a slow breath. The complications don't begin until puberty, but that's when the incompatibilities between body and soul take shape. Children become violent, ravenous. But we paid dearly for our mistake, I promise you. Angry mobs hunted down Animancers and burned down their homes, with them still inside, often as not. The grieving mother recoils, a grotesque manipulation, a desperate solution for a desperate problem, and the parents were heartbroken, betrayed. She closes her eyes and ceases to recede from you for a moment. But it was important to try something, was it not? To bring hope, even for a little while. She falls silent. People look to calling it the cruel salvation, and many still loathe us for it. But we wanted to stop the legacy as much as anyone. The public begged for our help, and we did the best we could. I still don't know if that absolves us. Why do you study wishes? He huffs. What kind of question is that? Just think of all the families that could be healed, the lives that could be restored. What could be more important? His face has reddened, and he turns away from you for a moment. He shakes his head. Animancy has an answer here. I know it. It's simply a matter of working it out. The grieving mother reaches out as if to put a hand on Mordred's cheek. Such pain. Watch her. And such determination. I see. Good. He looks eager to return to his work. Are you the Animancer who's been buying relics from Imatel? Who? I don't have time to barter with adventurers, if that's what it's about. Just looking around. Then be quick about it and don't touch anything. The sanitarium has a lax visitor policy, but I don't. Without another word, he resumes his work.
If secrets whisper here, I shall listen for them.
Here. The edges of the cage are dented and scarred with claw marks.
Sure.
A proper key. Nun, was, wenn wir diese Kiste öffnen wollten? Open the trunk. A heavy lock holds the trunk shut. It's too sturdy to break and the mechanisms look too complicated to pick. You'll need to find a key. Leave the trunk alone.
Nice and quiet.
Da ist kein Key. Oi, Alter, also eine Key für die Kiste.
Good day to you.
Just looking around. Na gut. Loading. Und es lädt und lädt und lädt. Jo. Da hat sich gerade was kurz getan. Es scheint fertig geladen, da fast fertig geladen zu haben. Also. These look like field sketches of Engwithian runes and artifacts.
Greetings.
Good day, stranger.
Ah. A bald man with a crooked nose gestures in demonstration over the still body of a patient before a small gathering of interested onlookers. Feeling your gaze, he pauses his discussion. Have you come to sit in? I'd like to know more about the sanitarium. He gives an eager nod. It is the mission that attracted me here, the treatment of the disturbed. No one else seems to care about them. Here, they've worked wonders for them. I've seen people cured of insatiable hungers and uncontrollable urges. I've seen the crippled walk and the dysphoric smile, all within these walls. The thought that the Duke could put an end to it with a single order, it keeps me up nights.
Welcome.
What is it you do here? Hello again, can I be of some use to you? Close as we are to the Glenfarthon wilds, we get a number of bivouac maimings every year, survivors dealing with complications from exposure. This fellow here is a severe case. His essence is a mere whisper of what it was. I am early in my research, only beginning to understand how they work, but in time I hope to find a way to protect people from the storm's effects. Naja, können wir auch nur wieder raus. Dann könnten wir die Rüstung mal abgeben. Das ist ja schnell gemacht. Und wir könnten dann in dem anderen Dings mal nachfragen, wie es um die Schriftrolle steht. Da kommen wir raus. So, nach Copperlane. Jo, 12 Minuten. Und dann gehen wir erstmal zu diesen dieser Adventure Order Dings da. Ladezeiten sind schon böse. So. Die werden zumindest böse. Das scheint aber auch eine Sache zu sein, die mit dem Patch beheben wollen. Gehen wir hier hin. Bzzzt. Ja, wenn man es hier im Hintergrund rumoren hört, da hat anscheinend hier irgendwer im Gebäude gerade Lust, Möbel zu verschieben und was weiß ich. So. Wienen. Erstmal Osric. Dann haben wir deine Rüstung wieder. Is this the armor you wanted? Osric wavers for a moment in disbelief. He looks at you, then back at the breastplate. He reaches for it slowly, as if expecting it to disappear before he can touch it. How did you manage this? You were right about the affidavit. Unfortunately, Penhelm forced me into a fight. A shame it ended like that, but he's the lying weasel who started it. You did all I asked, and you are owed much. He withdraws a leather coin purse from his pocket and hands it to you. Stop by Sonnel's shop on the other side of the hall. She sells some of the best gear in the city, and I'll see that she opens her inventory for you. The dozens moderate positive, Defiance Bay minor positive. What is this armor to you, anyway? Osric looks around, trying to appear casual. It's nothing really, just a keepsake. He tries to look you in the eye, but when he does, he appears to reconsider. He sighs. It commemorates the Order of Magran, highest order of Valor, awarded to the dead, never the living. Us Diewoodians, real Diewoodians, we don't have nobility or birthrights, unless you're some copper fucker from Adia. All we got's the honor we bring to our family name. The Order of Magran is, well, they don't give it out too much. Not often you see a member of the dozens whose revolutionary ties are as good as he says they are. So there's, he pauses considering the weathered metal, a pale image of its former self, but still catching the light. It's something to live up to. Got business with me? He grunts, maybe more than one, but keep a look for you. I'll show you who's available. Können wir nur bauen, wollen wir nicht. Rogue Knight. The blah blah is hidden the real mysteries, which is in Copperlin. Das ist was anderes. Hätte ich jetzt draufklicken müssen eben? Der zeigt doch immer noch 2 an. Der ist immer noch im Bau für eine ganze Weile. Major adventure completed. Peregina returns to the stronghold with reputation with Defiance Bay and money. The spoils await you in your Great Hall treasury chest. Ah, cool. Okay, so, jetzt müsste der Wienen aber auch mir weiterhelfen können. I'm looking for work.
I do have something, if you don't mind stepping on the toes of the Crucible Knights. Come to think of it, the Dominels won't be too pleased either. They never like seeing someone with nicer things than them. But it might suit an explorer like you.
Where do I begin?
Some of my other expeditions have come back with a rumor about a place called Remen up near Stormwall Gorge. It's supposed to hold some of the greatest weapons those Engwithen bastards ever made, and we've got need of them.
Yeah, Rational 2, he casts a sidelong glance at you. The knights are meddling in animancy, befouling souls to build metal warriors. Surely you've got enough sense to see how well that's going to go. We've got to be prepared to defend ourselves and the city. If there's anything that can stand a chance against this madness, it's weapons made by the Engwithians themselves. They made the same kinds of abominations in their time. They know how to kill them. I've sent the giant slayers after the weapons, but they haven't had much luck so far. They are better fighters than treasure hunters. Meet up with them at Wooden Plains and see how far they've gotten. If you can get those weapons, I'll see you get your cut. This is a joke, right? He expects us to grave rob the Engwithians for a few rusty old weapons? Hiravius fumes and his little fists ball up. I should kill him for even suggesting it. I mean, we're not doing this, right? He looks at you for a long moment as his face turns pale. Oh no, you are thinking about it. I can smell it on you. You are actually thinking about it. Why doing I even try to instill decency into your heathens? Farewell. At Wooden Plains. Mhm. Und wir können jetzt hier einkaufen gehen. Show me your wares. So the wilds haven't claimed you yet. She smiles. Good to see you again. Arbalests, Crossbow, Exceptional Sachen sind das. Fine Blunderbuss, 4000. Was zu teuer. Snarf's Folly. Naja. Dandy Head of the Diseased Yuck. Races of All-Consuming Rage. Plus 2 Might. Oh. Bile Stompers. Cloud Corrode DR Bonus. Was macht denn das für einen Sinn? Grants Minor Fetid Caris. Naja, Berserker Belt. 20% längere Frenzy Duration ist noch nicht schlecht. Whisper of Treason, Grants Whisper of Treason 15 will. Summon Noble Creature. Das hier scheint noch mit so ganz ordentlich zu sein, aber... Miet. So, wir können hier die Bücher noch gerade durchlesen, Anführungszeichen. So alles... Mumpets. Ich glaube, die kann ich auch mal ins Lager räumen. Naja, solange ich Platz habe. Sollen wir die Bücher hier. Das hier können wir noch ins Lager schicken und das auch. Wie viel Geld habe ich jetzt? 8000. Die machen nur 5 Reflex. Reflexe sind aber grundsätzlich recht hoch. Ja, also mal hier die Maimed-Dinger kaufen. Kann man das dann eigentlich noch verzaubern? Ne. Aber das wäre halt ein netter Bonus. Ah, ne. Ne. Gehen wir noch zu diesem anderen Dingen. Dahin. Flip. The Theorems of Pengram. Können wir mal mit Fexa reden?
Hail and well met.
Hail, traveler.
Na, die Scroll haben wir zwar auch, aber... Nanimancer named Nadine asked me to retrieve the theorems of Pengram for the Elder Archives. Grimdar's impressive frown deepens. Thank you for letting me know. I'll be sure to tuck that tome away from the prying eyes and see that this Nadine never sets foot in here again. In the meantime, here, a token of appreciation. Interested in this Grimdar thanked me for warning her and was taking measures to protect the book from any further attempts. Taxes collected. Loads. Die Sache ist ja die, dass dieser Whale, soweit ich das verstanden habe, das können wir gleich mal in der Lore nachschlagen, ist ja sowieso ein Gott des Diebstahls und des Suchens und so weiter. Wenn ich das jetzt richtig, oder ja, der Suche. Vor allem, ich weiß nicht, ob der, wenn er schon will, dass ich die Schriftrolle woanders hinbringe, dann würde es dem vermutlich auch nichts ausmachen, wenn ich da einfach was klauen würde. Journal, Encyclopedia, Lore, Deities, Whale, God of Secrets, Revelations, Illusions, Cryptography, Obfuscation, Perception, Dreams and Visions. Well is and in and of itself a mystery with no consistent form or gender. It follows reveal the acts of creating and unraveling mysteries.
All right then.
Und da müsste ich rein.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Get the theorems of Pentagram. Defense. AOE plus 20 Defense. Okay, das sind halt für irgendwelche Bosskämpfe.
Ja.
Das ist ziemlich krass.
Sure. Huh?
Name Error!
Sure. Huh?
Load. Machen wir das später. Werde ich da gerade noch mal was steigern, bevor ich da weitermache. Werde ich hier wieder raus. Machen wir erstmal woanders weiter. Und zwar bei Andras Gift dann.
Of course.
Da war ja auch noch so ein bisschen was zu tun. Jetzt habe ich allerdings nicht mehr so wahnsinnig viele Sachen.
Indeed.
Naja, vielleicht reicht es ja trotzdem. Andras Gift. Oh. Bei der Brücke müssten wir ja auch noch was tun. Da gab es ja auch noch so einen Kampf. Wobei, Corellian hat in einem Teil kommentiert, dass der Leuchtturm auch bugged ist. Also... Ja... Das heißt, da brauchen wir auch nicht rein. Abandoned House, was ist da? Werden wir dann auf jeden Fall beim nächsten Mal machen. Dann mache ich hier erstmal wieder einen Schnitt. Und dann geht's zum nächsten Mal hier weiter. Bis denn.